Hello, writers! Welcome to this week's Write Along. I'm Eva Deverell, and I'm going to be your writing buddy for the next 30 minutes while we do some writing together. I hope you will grab your pen and pencil or open up a new document and start getting ready. I have a couple of quick announcements to make, and then we will get writing. So, if you watched last week and the week before, you will have heard me mention this, but I have a giveaway open to celebrate the launch of my first novella in my steampunk series, Flora Victoriana. So if you want to join, all you have to do is to subscribe to my news list at this address, eadeverell.com/Flora Victoriana, and it's open internationally, and I will pick the winner on the 1st of April. So you have until then to subscribe if you're interested in winning some cute stationery goodies. So I also ought to warn you that there may be thunder in this recording. Last week I started the Hangout, and as soon as I started it, a balloon that had been sitting in my hallway decided to spontaneously pop, and it made such a huge bang that it completely threw me off. I didn't know what it was. And I had to edit it out of the recording later on, so I do apologize for that. But it has inspired this week's theme, which is something very dear to our hearts, inconvenience. So I will be doing a reading at the end regarding that, and our prompt in the middle will also be relevant to that as well. So we will start, as we always do, with 5 minutes of free writing. And this week, I want to encourage you to give vent to your anger at inconvenience. You know, talk about characters who won't comply, and I don't know, all your lack of willpower at doing things, whatever it is, whatever inconveniences you suffer in your daily life. You can write about those and just get them off your mind so that you have a clear mind for the next longer writing session we will do, which will be for 15 minutes. So I will set my timer. So I hope you're ready with pen and pencil or with a document open. We will be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. time's up. I hope you managed to get all your complaints off your chest. I didn't even have enough to complain about, which is a good thing. So let's move on to our main writing exercise. And this is directly relevant to the reading which I will be doing, which I hope you will enjoy. But this is going to be longer, so it's going to be for 15 minutes. And our prompt is, think of an inconvenience from your daily life and turn it into an adventure for your character. And if you don't have a character in mind, either use yourself, so write about your own inconvenience from your own point of view, or use someone you know. Use, I don't know, your parents, your siblings, or one of your friends or something like that. And yeah, just exaggerate the inconvenience and make it an adventure instead of an inconvenience. So I don't know what I'm going to be writing about, but hopefully it won't be too nonsensical. And feel free to take a moment to think about it. And I will set my timer. So get ready, set, and let's go. Our time's up. Sorry, I didn't give you a 1-minute warning there. I was captured by my story. I don't know what's going to happen, but I used the bang that I experienced in my last hangout with the balloon and turned it into some sort of explosion. You might have read the beginning of this story. I started live writing it on Google Docs, and yeah, I might continue doing that. So if you follow me on Twitter, you might see me finishing off that story. So that was the end of our writing session, and I have a final bit of reading for you if you'd like to sit back and enjoy that. I try to choose extracts for my hangouts that you know most people probably won't have come across. I mean they're not very arcane or anything because I'm not that widely read. But the best thing I thought when I was studying at university was that we were really forced to read things that we normally would not have read. You know, medieval things and all that kind of strange stuff that you don't usually come across unless you look for it. So that's kind of my intention with these hangouts. And this is a piece by G.K. Chesterton. I've excerpted it from his article his essay called On Running After One's Hat. And he's a very witty, very funny writer who I hope you will investigate further. But yes, so let me read this. On Running After One's Hat by G.K. Chesterton. We often hear grown-up people complaining of having to go to hang about a railway station and wait for a train. Did you ever hear a small boy complain of having to hang about a railway station and wait for a train? No. But to him, to be inside a railway station is to be inside a cavern of wonder and a palace of poetical pleasures. Because to him, the red light and the green light on the signal are like a new sun and a new moon. Because to him, when the wooden arm of the signal falls down suddenly, it is as if a great king had thrown down his staff as a signal and started a shrieking tournament of trains. I myself am of little boys' habit in this matter. They also serve whose only stand and wait for the 2:15. But in the case of all such annoyances, as I have said, everything depends upon the emotional point of view. You can safely apply the test to almost every one of the things that are currently talked of as the typical nuisance of daily life. For instance, there is a current impression that it is unpleasant to have to run after one's hat. Why should it be unpleasant to the well-ordered and pious mind? Not merely because it is running, and running exhausts one. The same people run much faster in games and sports. The same people run much more eagerly after an uninteresting little leather ball than they will ever after a nice silk hat. There is an idea that it is humiliating to run after one's hat, and when people say it is humiliating, they mean that it is comic. It certainly is comic, but man is a very comic creature, and most of the things he does are comic. Eating, for instance. And the most comic things of all are exactly the things that are most worth doing, such as making love. A man running after a hat is not half so ridiculous as a man running after a wife. Now a man could, if he felt rightly in the matter, run after his hat with the manliest ardour and the most sacred joy. He might regard himself as a jolly huntsman pursuing a wild animal, for certainly no animal could be wilder. In fact, I am inclined to believe that hat hunting on windy days will be the sport of the upper classes in the future. There will be a meet of ladies and gentlemen on some high ground on a gusty morning. They will be told that the professional attendants have started a hat in such and such a thicket, or whatever be the technical term. Notice that this employment will in the fullest degree combine sport with humanitarianism. The hunters would feel that they were not inflicting pain. Nay, they would feel that they were inflicting pleasure, rich, almost riotous pleasure, upon the people who were looking on. When last I saw an old gentleman running after his hat in Hyde Park, I told him that a heart so benevolent as his ought to be filled with peace and thanks at the thought of how much unaffected pleasure every gesture and bodily attitude were at that moment giving to the crowd. The same principle can be applied to every other typical domestic worry. A gentleman trying to get a fly out of the milk or a piece of cork out of his glass of wine often imagines himself to be irritated. Let him think for a moment of the patience of anglers sitting by dark pools and let his soul be immediately irradiated with gratification and repose. Again, I have known some people of very modern views, driven by their distress to the use of theological terms to which they attach no doctrinal significance, merely because a drawer was jammed tight and they could not pull it out. A friend of mine was particularly affected in this way. Every day his drawer was jammed, and every day, in consequence, it was something else that rhymed to it. But I pointed out to him that this sense of wrong was really subjective and relative. It rests entirely upon the assumption that the drawer could, should, and would come out easily. But if, I said, you picture to yourself that you are pulling against some powerful and oppressive enemy, the struggle will become merely exciting and not exasperating. Imagine that you are tugging up a lifeboat out of the sea. Imagine that you are roping up a fellow creature out of an alpine crevice. Imagine even that you are a boy again, and engaged in a tug-of-war between French and English. Shortly after saying this, I left him. But I have no doubt at all that my words bore the best possible fruit. I have no doubt that every day of his life he hangs on to the handle of that drawer with a flushed face and eyes bright with battle, uttering encouraging shouts to himself, and seeming to hear all round him the roar of an applauding ring. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's so funny, and I do encourage you to go and check out the whole article, which is very amusing. So that brings us to the end of another Write Along. That was our 8th Write Along, and the last one for the month of March. So I will be seeing you next month. I hope you've got some good writing out of that, and don't forget to sign up to my mailing list if you would like to win some goodies. And yeah, keep writing.